Perfect. So yeah, let's go.
All right. So today we're going to be doing a quick demo of Fidēs. So we've actually built in.
Just saying it. I guess I can only see your one window. That's your Anaconda.
Yeah. So I'll show other windows.
Okay.
In a bit. Just because it's hard because it automatically opens a browser window and it's going to do it in the one that it's hard to explain. But I'll switch it later to go through the web server stuff.
That's good. Yeah.
All right, so today we're going to go through a quick Fidēs demo. We've actually built this demo into our package. So to show you how to get up and running, you can do a pip install Fidēs, do the most recent version as of recording, it's 2.6.1. So once you've got that all set, you can do a Fidēs deploy up. And what this is going to do is it's going to pull relevant containers that are the matching versions. It's going to spin up a demo application for you and give you a little, not quite a tutorial, but a list of things you can do to kind of, poke and prod at it and get started with some of the tools in our system. And I've already run this before, so it's all cached, so it's just going to start those containers up. So this will also require Docker, and it will do Docker version checks and things like that to make sure that you have everything you need to run this locally.
So it's like the first time it is working, or like does it usually take like this much time?
Yeah, so what's happening right now is so it's pulled everything started up, and now it's starting the web server. The web server is running some initial migrations because it's fresh and everything. And so this normally takes about, depending on your computer, it should take about 1 minute to have everything start up, and there we go. So that's healthy. So now what it's going to do is it's going to seed a bunch of data for you to play around with and to be used as example data. And this is asking about analytics. I'm going to go ahead and opt out for now. And here's what your screen should look like. So we've got the big ASCII art, and we're going to put you to a few different places. So we've got documentation, which is actually going to automatically open up. We've got the Fidēs Abin UI, which we'll run through in a second. And we've got a sample application where we can actually look at DSR processing and consent and things like that. And then we've got a database, Postgres and a Mongo database running as well. And those probably won't be required if you're just poking around, but they're there in case you want to go and look and see how those things are working. So I'll go ahead and I will open up the web page that automatically opens. Okay, so can you see the web page now?
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. So welcome to Fidēs. So down here we've got the web server here, which we'll jump into in a second. Like I said, we've got the sample project, privacy center, and DSR directory where we can actually see the request being made. So let's go ahead and go to let's see. So we'll give you the username and password, Fidēs test, and password. All right, so here is what the Fidēs UI looks like. So you got privacy requests, you've got a data map over here. This is going to show the systems that we have, the data sets we have. We can add a system if we want to. Management, so it's going to be the taxonomy, like we were talking about earlier. That's going to be Fidēs links. You've got your different data categories, uses, all those types of things. Users, and then about Fidēs. So let's go ahead and look at our application now, the sample application. Okay, so we've got a cookie selling website. It's a little bit expensive, but that's okay. It's probably worth it. Let's go ahead and do a triple pack. I don't even know if it's a valid zip. All right, I'll do. All right, so I've gone ahead and made that purchase. So now, as a as a business, they have accessed that and they've stored it in their databases. And now I'm going to see if I can take a look at they've got on me.
So before you continue, Thomas,
Mhm.
what just happened? Like, let me confirm. What just happened is me as a user went to a website, right? And
Mhm.
we purchased some stuff. We purchased triple pack, cookie, and we are now kind of like me as a user is having control of the data. Is that something that's happening,
Yeah,
or is it
exactly.
something?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So, within GDPR and CCP and other things, this is legally required, right? So I, as a user, have to be able to go to a business, we call it a privacy center, right? Go to a business, say, give me all the data you have on me, erase all the data you have on me, or again, manage my consent, right? Things like do not sell my personal information. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the first step, which is just access to data. So I'm not saying they can't have it. I'm just saying, hey, I need you to tell me everything that you know about.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Excellent. So now in our Fidēs web server, we've got, okay, thomas@ethyca.com, an access request, got 45 days because there is a time limit on this, right? We've got 45 days to process it, and I'm going to go ahead and approve that.
So what does this approve mean, Vika?
Mm-hmm. So what
What does this?
approve means, what approve means is that you're basically you are saying that it's okay for that user to access their data, and it will then grab all that data and store it either in an S3 bucket for the user to download, or send it an email, something of that nature. So I
Oh,
will go
okay.
ahead and I'll share my screen, my whole screen, just to make this a little bit easier. So here we've got this Fidēs uploads folder, which will automatically open, because right now the way we've configured this demo is that it just stores it locally, right? It's not set up to store it in an S3 bucket or anything, right? So it's just storing locally, and I can then double click on that and see exactly what is in there. So this is a JSON object, so it looks kind of messy, but it's saying, okay, from the customer table of this database, they have my name, they have my email. In the address table, they've got my state, my zip, right? So that's all the personal information they have on me from that transaction that I did with them.
Mhm.
Now, say I don't think I'm ever going to buy any cookies from this place again, and I don't like having my data spread out all over the internet. So I want to come back and I want to do an erasure. So same process as before. All right, come back over here, and now I'll have a new request, right? So you see this one is an erasure. I want to reveal that I can see, okay, so this is Thomas Ethyca. And let's go ahead and approve that erasure. You'll notice here you've got a review by as well. So as I'm logged in as the Fidēs test user, you can track who is approving, who's denying, right? Who's reviewing. That's a really important thing that we talked about having users before. All right, so we did an erasure. And so now all that data should be gone. So just to kind of double check this, let's go ahead and do another access request. And we'll approve that. Perfect. And that should be in this folder now. When I open it, it's blank because that user data no longer exists in the databases. There's nothing to get, right? It doesn't just fail, it just comes back blank to tell you, hey, we got nothing on you. And that's a really important feature. So now let's go over to the CLI a little bit. So this is going to be more engineer focused, but I think just as important. So one of the things we can do here is we've got a folder called .fee-dhez, and it's got configuration file in it, and it's basically telling our application where all of our stuff lives. So we've got things within the system already, so we can do a system. That's going to show us, okay, as part of that process before we're setting these up, we've loaded a bunch of systems into our database, right? So here we've got, okay, 1, 2, 3 different systems, and they handle everything from, as you can see by the names here, right? So we've got customer database system over here. Over here, we've got a marketing system, and that's saying, okay, so we've got marketing. We've got, okay, we're grabbing cookie IDs. It's identifiable because we know who's using the website. It's a customer, that's our data subject. And what are we doing with the data use? Okay, we're doing first-party advertising, right? And so we're saying that we don't want those things to be possible, right? So if we break that rule within our code, and as annotated, then it's going to fail. So we'll do a quick Fidēs evaluate to verify that what our systems are doing and what our policies are doing are okay. And there we go. So it's checking policies against the systems that we've defined and saying that, okay, we're not breaking any rules here. So if I do
I mean, I'm kind of, I guess, you need to about it. Like, what does this command exactly do? Like, Fidēs evaluate.
It's a really good question. It gets a little bit into the weeds because of all the different levels that we have to check, but pretty simply what it's doing is, so here we've got our policy. So for this kind of example system, we've only got one set up. So we've got a sample privacy policy, and we're defining rules here. We call these privacy rules. So we're saying if they have user contact data, and it's identified because that inherently is generally identifiable, and the data subject is a customer. So we've got customer contact data that we have identified with the customer specifically, and there is third-party advertising, meaning we'll give it to another party, then we're going to reject it. And so what that's doing is just saying, okay, here's our policy, and here are the rules that we've defined for it. And it's going to go look at all of our systems and our data sets and make sure that we're not, there's no overlap. So basically what it's doing is a bunch of checks. So, okay, is there user contact data? If yes, check the next thing. If no, then we'll just quit out right now because we know it's okay. We'll drill into data sets as well. So if a system is using data from a data set, we'll go check that data set and we'll say, okay, it's saying that it's using this field from this data set, and that data set is user contact data. So we'll know to flag that, right? So we're kind of also adding more things on top of the system and trying to build a superset of everything that the person is doing and making sure that that's in line with their policy. And what this means is that a developer, as long as things are annotated properly, a developer no longer has to worry about doing something that is maybe against a privacy policy that they didn't even know existed, or doing it by accident. So this is basically an automated test for, privacy by design. If you do this in a CI check, which is designed to be done as, it will throw an error. Then, that's just another thing you run in CI, and if it breaks, it breaks, and that code never hits production, and you don't have to worry about that. But there's generally much less risk when developing this way.
Yeah, that makes sense. And this policy that we're talking about is it individual customized policies, but based on the companies, or are we talking about privacy laws like GDPR?
Yeah, so currently it is by company, right? Because we are, one of the things we want to do is we do want to have a default kind of like, oh, this is generally GDPR, this is generally CCPA, those kinds of things. So we do want to kind of have those default policies out of the box. But a lot of the users and companies that we're working with actually have a lot of custom rules they want to enforce as well. So like in addition to those things, or maybe there's just things they aren't worried about that maybe is in GDPR, they say, well, actually we're not totally beholden to that for one reason or another. So these are fully custom at the moment, but shipping default policies is something that we'd like to do in the future. Absolutely.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
And so for this demo, that's about it. Actually, I think I can throw in one more thing because it's something we talked about earlier is data mapping specifically. Right? That's really important for compliance officers and that persona that's required by law, and something that I know it takes a lot of time and wrangling with engineers. So real quick, in Fidēs Plus, the paid version, we have a much more robust kind of UI-based system for looking at data maps and visualizing them and filtering and things like that. But in our free version, Fidēs core open source product, we do, like, all those API endpoints are there, all the functionalities there. We just don't have the beautiful UI for it. So to get that from the command line, you can do, we'll do Fidēs export data map, and then we'll do it to CSV just so I can display it a little better. Perfect. So you can see, okay, so it's put out a CSV. It's going to be not the exact right format because the XLSX is, I believe, the correct format legally. But let's take a look at that. Okay, so we've got the Fidēs key, which is just the unique name of whatever it is that's being used. It's got the name of the system. It's got the description. It's got the responsibility title. This is legally required. It's got the administrating department, so it's going to tell you who owns it, right? So is it marketing? Is it engineering? It's got third country transfers, also legally required. So, okay, we see this is USA and Canada. System dependencies is really important. This is what's showing data flow. So this is going to say, okay, this system actually depends on this other system. So these are related, and there's data flowing between those. We have system ingress and egress. That's going to define more granularly where the data is flowing to and where it's flowing from, like very specific units of data. Data uses, legal basis, special categories, all those kinds of things, right? Legitimate interest. These should all be familiar terms. And so, yeah, so this is what it's going to look like as a CSV. It is fully properly formatted in the XLSX version, but I don't have Excel on this laptop. So yeah, so that's data mapping in a nutshell. This is really powerful because if you can at any time run, CLI command, or if you have Fidēs Plus, if you can just go into a UI and see an up-to-date data map as of the last time the code was pushed to main, that will take a lot of pressure and a lot of stress out of the lives of compliance officers, which I think is a really good thing. And this is, like we were talking about earlier, this is a really great way that engineers can build privacy into their workflow, and then Fidēs becomes a tool where engineers and privacy professionals overlap, and they can have a very symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, I can imagine that, and yeah, the very idea of that the synchrony harmony between the engineers and the compliance officers. That's not very often that you see it, and I guess Fidēs can do a lot of stuff there. So the other could you show me like in the CLI there was something called, I guess, a tree-like structure, if I'm not wrong.
Tree-like structure. Do you remember exactly what it was related to? I think that Fidēs evaluate will look similar. If there's a failure, then it will give kind of like various reasons for it. I'm not sure what the tree-like structure you mean as far as like a data map.
Yeah, data map. Yeah.
We don't have, so in the CLI we don't have anything that will show a data map. The closest you could get would be to do have a list of the systems or a list of the data sets. You can look at individual objects or individual annotations, but yeah, sorry, we don't have any kind of CLI based way to view the data map. That would actually be a really cool feature, like an ASCII representation, because we don't support it via the UI, but that would be something cool to support just to give people a quick glance via the CLI. I like that idea.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, this honestly, like like what I've seen so far is like I can clearly see like I like me as an engineer, it's kind of beautiful for me because like you have, as I told you, like you have converted the subjective text in GDPR laws into objective code that is
Right.
To convert to inculcate, integrate, and penetrate the privacy directly into during the development stage. That is like, to be honest, I'm in awe of this technology, and I don't know like this was ever possible, and or at least like not very quickly, to be honest. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's anything's possible given enough time and resources, right? And I'm just really glad that finally, it happened to be us, but I think it was definitely high time that a company came along and tried to solve this specific problem, right? And just trying to kind of get over some of the dysfunction right now in the privacy side of most organizations. And then finally, I will just remind everyone that Fidēs deployed down will then tear everything down. So that's an important thing. If you've got a laptop, you probably don't want to leave all that stuff running. So final tip for everyone, Fidēs deployed down will tear everything down, and you've seen a quick demo of Fidēs open source.
Oh, wow. So that's it, I guess, yeah?
Yeah, that's it.
Perfect. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Thomas, for sharing this demo. And I will see you again. And I really wish, like good luck with all the aspirations and all whatever you folks have set in this quarter and in the coming quarters to achieve. I'm like really looking forward to see what you people have like cooking in your kitchen.
Yeah, we've got a lot cooking. I would encourage anyone to keep an eye on the repo. We are shipping a crazy amount of features. All of our engineers are just really top notch. We have an incredible team, and so we're just shipping features and listening to feedback. And so if you want to hop in the repo and say, hey, I would love to use Fidēs, but it's missing this feature, or we are open source. So if you have an engineering team that wants to build features on top of it to get to your use case, that works too. And yeah, we've also got a few new projects starting up kind of in this space to help automate this even further. So keep an eye out, and I'm sure you'll see more development soon.
I can't wait to see what you have, people. What you people have, like, amaze me and other folks in this area with amazing tech and stuff like that. But yeah,
Cool. Thank you.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much for giving me the opportunity to demo Fidēs open source.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Cheers.